days in the history of the PlayStation. And Laura is back in action. The buxom babe is setting off on a new adventure in Tomb Raider, The Last Revelation. Is it just more of the same? Plus, we pull a few punches in our strategy guide for Ready to Rumble, the over-the-top boxing game for the Dreamcast. Stick around, it's game time. Hi, I'm Dash, and this week on GameSpot TV, we turn our spotlight on the third-person action genre. From Lara Croft to Oni and Indiana Jones, this genre has attracted a huge audience. So why are these games so popular?
They look at danger in the face and laugh. They right the wrongs, protect the innocent, and save the world in their spare time. They're the heroes in today's third-person action games. There are many, and it seems that the genre is growing thanks to a spunky British lady. Yep, you guessed it. Miss Lara Croft and her adventures in the PlayStation game Tomb Raider brought attention and a much-needed boost to the third-person action scene. Of course, other game companies are following the money trail. PC game developer Raven Software decided to deviate from the first-person perspective and made players play the hero of Heretic 2 from behind. In Drakan, players not only assume the role of the adventurer Rin, but also her dragon during flight and battle. Again, the game gives players the view from behind, a standard camera angle in most third-person action games. And to the delight of many gamers, the buck doesn't stop there. Bungie Software aims to shake the genre when it releases Oni, an action game that will involve both firing weapons and hand-to-hand combat. Designers of the game dubbed the concept full contact action. The concept will give players the option to choose whether to fight mano-a-mano or blast their opponents with a weapon. A concept that, according to Oni's project leader Brent Pease, requires the third-person perspective.
There's two main reasons we went with a third-person view. The first was to help the player identify with the character to help tell the story. I think the story is much more believable when you're actually witnessing the character, very similar to a movie.
And imagine how disorienting it would be if you're playing this game while in a first-person view. The flips, slides, and fancy moves could make players lose their lunch. A third-person view is almost mandatory. In the What Took Them So Long category, LucasArts is close to releasing Indiana Jones and the Infernal Machine, an action-adventure PC game based on the blockbuster movie series. Players will assume the role of the fedora-wearing, whip-wielding adventurer Indiana Jones. In this third-person action-adventure game, set after World War II, Indy's job is to foil the Soviets' plan to acquire the secrets of the Tower of Babel. As with Tomb Raider, the third-person view in Indiana Jones and the Infernal Machine should give players fantastic views, cinematic camera angles, and dramatic action sequences.
Something's in there.
The main challenge in third-person action games, however, has been camera placement. In the past, walls, trees, and other obstacles have obstructed the view from behind. Brent Pease believes they've solved that problem in Oni.
We let the camera go anywhere in the environment, and when the camera is obstructed by a wall, we make the wall translucent, so you can see through the wall.
For Indiana Jones, LucasArts went around the problem by switching camera perspective to a first-person view when Indy's back is against a solid object. The view springs back to third person as soon as Indy moves forward. A no-brainer solution, according to production manager Wayne Klein. As with any industry, the third-person genre had to grow, adapt, and experience growing pains. And with new technologies and concepts, game developers are getting more resourceful in solving problems associated with the genre. From where we're sitting, the view from the third-person action genre is looking very good.
And if that whets your appetite, stay tuned. We'll be checking out several new and upcoming third-person action games. But first, let's check the game news.
Eyes all over the gaming world were focused on Japan recently for the industry's largest event of the year, the Tokyo Game Show. With 74 different companies showing off 450 new titles, the show was a sight to behold. Unlike America's premier gaming event, E3, the Tokyo Game Show is open to the public. giving game lovers the chance to see, hear, and play the newest of the new in gaming. The most popular booth at TGS was by far Sony's, as the official unveiling of the PlayStation 2 occurred just 1 week prior. The booth held the actual console with playable versions of Gran Turismo 2000, Tekken Tag Tournament, and Drum Mania, and the results were very impressive. But for all the attention that Sony was getting, Sega did its best to attract curious console zealots. The list of Dreamcast titles continued to grow, with Sega showing off Virtual On, Rayman 2, the arcade port of Crazy Taxi, and the impressive Resident Evil Code Veronica. And of course, the PlayStation proved it's not dead yet, as the Sony booth showed off Chrono Trigger 2, Chrono Cross, Gran Turismo 2, and others. While only a fraction of the titles shown at the Tokyo Game Show will make it over to the States, it is usually a good indication of what is to come in the console gaming future.
If you're looking for more on the Tokyo Game Show, go to the news section of GameSpot.com and throw in your 2 cents on the third-person adventure genre. Come to the GameSpot TV website and take our newest poll. Coming up on GameSpot TV, get ready for some serious shredding. Thrasher Magazine and Rockstar Games have teamed up for the new title, Skate and Destroy. And we take to the sky in our review of Draken, Order of the Flame, to a place where winged ones roam when GameSpot TV returns. Even as I extol the virtues of gaming, I must admit I still have fond memories of the simpler days of play, like making my Hot Wheels fly off stairways and inspecting the damage. Now we have Hot Wheels Turbo Racing for the PlayStation. Will it make me wistful? Check it out.
As anyone who has ever played with Hot Wheels knows, it's not about collecting, but about popping the cars out of their packages and speeding them off anything that might constitute a cliff. This is not lost on the developers of Hot Wheels Turbo Racing, which captures the look and feel of the little cars and throws in some surprisingly excellent gameplay along the way. At first glance, it seems like a regular racer. It has the standard options, but the cars and tracks are what make it so different. The cars all look like real Hot Wheels from the past and present. The tracks are filled with twists and turns, with a few loops and corkscrews thrown in for good measure. Many of the tracks look like actual Hot Wheels tracks and are kept interesting with shortcuts and big jumps. The big jumps aren't just for show. Once you catch air and you can pull off crazy stunts, and the better the stunt, the more turbo boost you earn. The physics of the game make pulling off the stunts a real blast. Graphically, the game does a good enough job. It could have been faster and cleaner, but it gets the point across and doesn't detract from the gameplay. Sound effects are filled with all types of tire squeals, engines, and explosions, and the choices of music is a nice touch. Hot Wheels Turbo Racing is almost destined to be dismissed due to its license, but the driving is great, and the stunt aspect gives it a skateboard-like feel. This is poised to be a sleeper hit. Jeff Gertzman from VideoGames.com gives it an 8 out of 10.
If you're a skateboarder, then you know what Thrasher is. It's an old-school skate magazine that's been around since, well, forever. Now Thrasher has teamed up with Rockstar Games for Skate and Destroy.
Rockstar Games has teamed up with Thrasher Magazine for Thrasher Skate and Destroy. While Tony Hawk's Pro Skater will appeal to fans, Thrasher Skate and Destroy is hardcore. The game sports 16 different street environments, including well-known skater havens in San Francisco, New York, and Germany. Each level begins with simple free skating, where you can scope your environment for places to do tricks. Each level is packed with objects to ollie over, grind on, or wrap your body around, depending on your skating level. Once you're ready, you start a 2-minute run. To pass a level, you'll need to earn a certain amount of points. The game doesn't end once your time runs out. Instead, the cops show up to take your board away.
I see one! Here, hold my bear claw.
If they can catch you.
You are in violation of San Francisco Civic Code 141-80.
Look to do some serious shredding when Thrasher Skate and Destroy is released in November 1999.
Any game with Africa Bombata is going to get my attention. Now, while it doesn't have the avatars of Electro Draken, Order of the Flame, it does have a dragon that you get to fly around and burn troll things with. But is that enough to make it stand out from other fantasy fare?
You awaken me, Herok, bonded dragon of Heron?
Draken, Order of the Flame, is another fantasy game with dragons, but this time round they aren't something to slay, but a companion to do your bidding. If it weren't for the multitude of beasties populating the landscape, this game would make for a wonderful vacation spot. All the settings are beautifully detailed with realistic weather and lighting effects. The creatures are your typical sword and sorcery fodder, but they are distinctively designed. It's Rin herself that doesn't look that good. Her absurd Barbie doll figure and poker face just don't deliver much personality. In contrast, her dragon companion Herok is more articulate and looks great in every regard. Control in the game is good. The hacking and slashing is well suited to a keyboard and mouse configuration. You can just run or fly about and perform simple special moves to keep things interesting. The enemies themselves aren't terribly bright, but you can expect a serious fight nonetheless. The huge levels contain a fair amount of puzzles and traps, and you'll find yourself having to dismount from your flying beast to find a means to get him into the next area. On the whole, the game is challenging and enjoyable most of the way through, though it relies a bit too much on its shallow story. The game has its share of technical problems, which are most evident in the unpolished multiplayer game. But to its credit, the game does hold together in spite of these issues. Greg Kasavan from GameSpot.com gives Draken, Order of the Flame a 7.5 out of 10.
If you'd like to read more on Draken, check out the review on GameSpot.com. And if you need some extra grinding, you can find our Thrashers Skate and Destroy preview facing off against Tony Hawk's Pro Skater on the GameSpot TV website at ZDTV.com. Coming up on GameSpot TV, we review Outcast, the sci-fi action-adventure game featuring a wisecracking hero out to save a distant world from tyranny. And Liz Croft is back in all her glory. In action, we've never seen her look like this before. All this and more when GameSpot TV returns. Welcome back. In keeping with the third-person theme in the show, Outcast, the new PC action-adventure from Infro Games, is sure to have players wishing they lived in parallel worlds.
Outcast, the new action-adventure game from Infogram, may not do anything new, but what it does do, it does extremely well. And the result is a unique, interesting, and fun experience. You play wisecracker Cutter Slade. You control Cutter with the arrow keys, and you control the camera view with the mouse. The control scheme takes some getting used to, but it works quite well.
Well, let's count. I lost my crew, can't find the probe. My equipment is being used by the natives as rosary beads. And
Cutter has been commanded to lead a group of scientists on a rescue mission to a parallel world, a la Stargate. Things go wrong, and Slade finds himself alone and defenseless in the strange new world of Adelpha. The natives offer to help, but only if Cutter agrees to save them from the tyrannical Pharaon.
I would suggest that you stay here in Shamazar until you feel you are ready to travel into the other regions.
The 6 regions of Adelpha are all very diverse, and the inhabitants are an interesting group. The majority have distinct personalities, and at first, players may find it difficult keeping up with all the alien terminology. Fortunately, the game keeps extensive notes for you.
Many soldiers have been seen now that you are known to be alive.
The use of sound in Outcast is great. Every character speaks, and the voice acting is quite good. In addition, the game's dynamic soundtrack is excellent. The bottom line is, while Outcast can be frustrating at times, it is just plain fun. With a spirit more in line with Adeline's Twin Sun games, Outcast presents you with a huge and interesting world to explore, which results in a very enjoyable time. Ron Doolin of GameSpot.com gave Outcast a rating of 8.6 out of 10.
If you like fishing, or you don't like fishing, or you like playing fishing games anyway, pay close attention, because it's all in the casting.
In case you haven't noticed, there's quite a few fishing games on the market these days, and if you're looking for a new way to control them without having to use your standard controller, consider the Rumble Rod for the N64 by Madcast.
Oh yeah, that's the way to start the morning.
As you can see, the Rumble Rod's pretty much a standard N64 controller. It has all the buttons you've come to expect on one, as well as an analog stick and a digital pad. The difference is how it reacts to games that support it. Games like Bass Hunter 64 and Bassmasters 2000, for instance. When you see a fish on the screen and it starts to tug on your line, you feel it in the controller. And when you add a rumble pack to the bottom, it really does complete the whole fishing experience.
He slammed it. Oh yeah.
The Rumble Rod will work with any fishing game, although you will not get the force feedback with some of them. For you fishing fanatics out there, for 30 bucks, it's a controller to look into.
Ah, there's nothing like catching a virtual trout. If only I had a virtual grill. Now, if you want to contact any of us at GameSpot TV, perhaps you have a question, or you want to tell us how big the fish you caught was. I'll call a 17.12-pound bass on my Dreamcast. Just email us at GameSpot@ZDTV.com. Coming up on GameSpot TV, Laura is back. We have a preview of her latest adventure, Tomb Raider: The Last Revelation. What will Laura's polygon count be in her fourth incarnation? And we review the epic role-playing masterpiece, Final Fantasy VIII. Stunning animation, developed storyline, and seamless motion set this title apart from the rest when GameSpot TV returns. Welcome back. Now, you'd think with Draken we'd filled our quota of curiously proportioned gaming heroines. But no! Some of the guys from IDOS stopped by to give us an early peek at the new installment in the Tomb Raider series. And we're being kind enough to share with you what we saw.
Like hurricanes in the fall, the return of Lara Croft is one of the things you can always rely on. And so, time is upon us for the next installment in the wildly popular Tomb Raider series, Tomb Raider: The Last Revelation. Now don't fear, that revelation is not the end of the series. This version of the game will keep Lara in one locale, Egypt. The one exception will be a training level where you get to play a young 16-year-old Lara in Cambodia. IDOS is aiming for the game to be the definitive Tomb Raider, combining elements of 1 through 3. The game will be more focused on puzzle solving, where you solve puzzles to move on to the next room, rather than collecting keys and backtracking for miles. Also, you'll never have to worry about pushing or pulling blocks anymore. The game will also use a new targeting system, so you won't be automatically aiming in the direction of an enemy. Enemies themselves will be fewer, but with more advanced intelligence, and will share the same abilities as Lara. Now, while you're watching footage from the early PC version of the game, Tomb Raider: The Last Revelation will also be available for the PlayStation, and will reveal the quality of the game when it's released in November.
$99.99 may have been D-Day for Sega, but for Final Fantasy fans, $99.99 is the day Final Fantasy VIII was released.
At a recent pre-launch event in San Francisco, Final Fantasy fanatics waited for more than 2 hours just to get their hands on a copy of a game that is sure to monopolize their time into next month. And what do you do after standing in line for 3 hours and plopping down money for the game, a strategy guide, and maybe an action figure or two?
I gotta go home and play my game.
What is it about Final Fantasy VIII that has everyone drooling? Find out in this review.
The Final Fantasy series is considered the most successful console role-playing series of all time. Known for its epic stories and dramatic themes, it has also led the way in the quality of gameplay and graphics. Now with Final Fantasy VIII, Square has designed a masterpiece. The core of any Final Fantasy game is the story, and the story in Final Fantasy VIII is the best of the series. With 7, Square showed that it had mastered the epic, and now with Final Fantasy VIII, Square has mastered the personal. Squall Leonhardt is a student at Garden, the world's foremost military academy. After a successful training mission, Squall and his classmates are sent on a mission to assist a rebel organization in the capture of the Galbadian president Delling, who is set to announce an alliance with the powerful sorceress Edea. The story may be great, though what really sets the game apart are the breathtaking graphics. The background detail and battle sequences are unbelievable. Battles take place in the traditional RPG active time system. Your characters and enemies take turns unleashing spells and weapons against each other. And with FF8, Square introduces a few new systems to learn: the Draw system, the Guardian Forces systems, and the Junction system. While the Draw system is FF8's magic system, the Guardian Force, or GF system, is the game's way of handling summoned monsters. Each Guardian Force is like a sub-member of the party. They gain levels and skills and earn achievement points. The Junction system works with the GF system to give you varying skills and abilities. Each GF can be joined or junctioned with a character. Junctioning a GF automatically gives you access to the magic, draw, and items commands. Without a Junction GF, characters have no battle commands except fight. Overall, with its fantastic story, amazing graphics, and solid RPG gameplay, Final Fantasy VIII is a welcome addition to the Final Fantasy series. Andrew Vestal of Videogames.com gave Final Fantasy VIII a rating of 9.5 out of 10.
If you look really, really close, you can see Carol Ann. All right, now don't get me wrong. Firing an arsenal of missiles from your shoulder blades is impressive, but it's the gritty, sweaty pummeling in the ring that'll really impress them. So we rustled up some strategy tips to wow your friends with Ready to Rumble!
It doesn't get any tougher than this. Face to face, fist to fist, and a bell to start the trip to La La Land. You're brave enough to step inside the ring, bite your mouthpiece hard, and pray that one of these tips work. You want to go the distance and win your rounds? Then stick your moves. Learn how to get in, throw your shots, and get out. It's a rhythm thing. As the boxing great Muhammad Ali said, fly like a butterfly, sting like a bee. This technique is especially helpful in the solo games. Try to adopt a less predictable technique when you're playing a human player.
Let's rumble, Holmes!
And before you start singing the theme to Rocky, learn the combo. Each character has his and her own special combo moves. The combos can be executed by pressing the correct directional pad and button sequence. Applying them at the right moment can demoralize your pathetic opponent. A little self-confidence helps too.
Better stay down.
No Ready to Rumble bout is finished without using the mighty Rumble Flurry. Seeing R-U-M-B-L-E spelled out could make you lose all bodily function, but try to contain yourself. Watch the clock, your opponent's health, and manage the use of the Rumble Flurry. Use it when you think the Rumble Flurry will be most effective.
I'm ready to conquer El Toro!
So whether you plan to relive the Thrill of Manila or reenact all of Raging Bull, remember the combos, stick your moves, and manage the Rumble Flurry. Oh, and watch out for the right hook.
If you want to see more on Final Fantasy VIII or watch our Tomb Raider The Last Revelation preview, go to the GameSpot TV website. There you'll also find the latest column on the Dreamcast. And register to win a free USB Netcam during Netcam Week 3 by visiting our site at zdtv.com. So until next week, remember, if you think you're playing too much, play more. See ya.